did you first start knowing about Modesty Blaise and Peter O'Donnell, and how long have you been a fan?
Well, I've been a fan of Modesty Blaise for, it's probably been over 20 years now, actually. If not, yeah, definitely over 20 years. Like sometime around in the, probably about mid-'80s. You know, early to mid-'80s, I started like, hearing about Modesty Blaise, and I've always was really, actually a friend of mine named Al Harrell told me about the whole relationship. Told me about, we were talking about spy things and kick-ass stories and comic books and characters and everything. And he brought up Modesty Blaise and talked about like how cool she was and described the character who's not in this movie, but in the comic strips and in the novels of Willie Garvin, and how their relationship was really special and all that stuff. And so I was like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting. He goes, but don't watch that first movie that was made on it, all right, the Joseph Lucy movie. Don't watch that movie, all right? That's not Modesty Blaise, all right? And so then the first comic strip I picked up of Modesty Blaise in the early 80s, where they took, he did, Peter O'Donnell did like novels, and then he did comic strips like in a newspaper that were serialized every week. All right, and so then years later they came out with all those different serialized comic strips as a graphic novel, basically. And so I started buying those. I started reading those and liked them so much that I started getting the novels, all right, and started reading little by little the different novels and stuff. It kind of totally fell in love with the characters. So and became a big aficionado, of Modesty Blaise and stuff. So that's how it all started for me.
And then were you also a fan, Scotty, or is this like something that sort of...
Oh, gosh. Knowing Quentin and stuff. So then that's where I knew Modesty Blaise, and of course in Pulp Fiction.
John Travolta's reading the Modesty Blaise novel. Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, okay, cool. And Quentin would go on, and of course it just starts getting you excited, but it's like, oh, crud. And I knew there were these graphic novels and all that stuff, but so that was kind of like my little like, oh, okay, I got a mini education on modesty there a little bit. And Connie too.
Yeah, she like my mom is crazy into Modesty Blaise. Absolutely, positively adores Modesty Blaise.
Absolutely. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Now I feel complete. So I'm so into getting like, I just got a great book on, I think it's called Espionage in the Movies.
Yeah.
And he's got all the, Mike Connor spy movies.
Which is great.
Kiss the girls and make them die.
Which is a great movie.
Bulldog Drummond and Deadlier Than the Male.
All the Richard Johnson.
Which is a terrific movie. I really liked it. But I'm like, I just love having like, I'm such a completist, I got for every TV show,
But now you've done an espionage movie.
I know.
You're one of the most famous espionage characters out there.
Oh man, good grief. Yeah. Wow.
Peter says in an interview that he was so touched that when he got the phone call from your assistant, I don't know who it was, but someone called him to see if you could use Modesty Blaise.
Yeah, Right,
It was like, at that moment, he became the biggest fan. I guess you didn't have to do it, but...
Oh, no, I'm a huge fan of Peter O'Donnell, all right? And, and it was funny, because I remember, like, the first of the comic strip things that I bought, all right, I had a big, long interview with him talking about why, like, the movie doesn't work, all right, and how Joseph Lucy went and did his own thing. And when you read Peter O'Donnell's, either his novels of Modesty Blaise or the comic strips, there's such integrity to them. There's just like, there's things Modesty would do, and there's things she wouldn't do. There's things Willie Garvin would do, there's things he wouldn't do, all right? And, and it's never up for grabs. I mean, there's a complete, if you could only wish TV shows had as much integrity as Peter O'Donnell had, when he did all of his different stories. And so the idea is, it was just obvious that, like, he was really burnt by the idea of ever turning it into a movie or a TV show or anything, because nobody's going to have the integrity he has for it. But all the fans have the same amount of integrity. So the minute you start changing anything, it's like, ugh. All right, and look, and some things need to be changed in comic strips. But you know what? In Modesty Blaise, there doesn't need to be, all right? They're just full on, it's not like even though that when they do most comic strip movies or comic book movies, they feel they have to add in all this stuff that, one, they don't need, but two, it is a comic book, so maybe, a third dimension needs to be added to it a little bit.
Right.
But in the case of Modesty Blaise, no, Peter O'Donnell has written tons of novels on the character. There's they're not stick figures. They are 3-4 dimensions to them.
Exactly.
Why did you want John character, Vincent, why did you want him carrying Modesty Blaze? Like what? Was it just because it's homage to it, or?
Oh no! It was like well, no, it was just the fact that if I'm going to put a book in somebody's hand, I'm going to put a book that I've read, all right, you know, a book that I like and everything like that. And so I didn't spend that much thought on it, all right. It wasn't meant to be, you know, ruminated on 10 years later. But it's like, you know, no, you know, I was reading some Modesty Blaze novels right around that time. If I'm not mistaken, I think the first Modesty Blaze novel, the one that he was reading, I had bought in Amsterdam when I was writing the script. So that was like in my mind. So that's probably what made me write it down in the script. And then I actually had the prop guys actually come up with a much better cover, all right, than the cover of the actual book. So they came up, I gave them some of the comic strips, and they did a really great blow up. I still have that cover, all right. I put it on the old book, all right, because it's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like a gigantic thought process behind it, but like, no, I always liked it. I thought, hey, that would be a cool book for Vincent to read. Oddly enough, it's funny though. I always have people like rereading like espionage or spy books for some reason. All right, it's like John Travolta's reading Peter O'Donnell's Modesty Blaze, and Jackie Brown. Robert Forster is reading Len Dayton's Berlin Story. Len Dayton's the guy who wrote Ipcress File. And
Yeah,
all that stuff,
absolutely.
yeah.
My name is Michael.
Cut to 10 years later, it's
Yeah.
applicable because you're presenting
Yes,
Modesty
exactly.
Blaze, and so how did you get involved in presenting that, and why him?
Well, it was funny because it was a cool situation because Miramax had the project for a long time, and it's a big movie, and I was one of the producers on it, and it's a big movie, and I'm kind of the reason it hasn't been made before now because they had this one novel that they wanted to adapt it from, and my whole thing is like it's got to be right, or I can't be involved in it. So you know, whenever like they wanted to kind of go forward with it on this bigger movie, but I thought it was too much compromised or wasn't correct enough about the book and everything. I'd say, okay, well you guys can do it, and I'll just back out. So see you guys later. All right, but it's like I'm not even saying you're going to make a bad job of it, but it's different, too different, so I don't want to be involved in it and whatever. All right, and they was like, no. All right, so thus I've kind of stopped a big movie from being made, unfortunately. All right, but then what happened is they had the situation is they still want to make their big movie, but they had to make a Modesty Blaze movie. All right, before like they ran out, they had to show that they had a desire to make one, as opposed to just talk about making one.
Right.
All right, and so they go, well, we're going to make a small one before we do a big one. All right, and they go, oh, okay, fine. All right, and then so they go and they commission a guy to write it, and then I get the script. And I read it, and it's like, it was pretty clever. Everything that they did, they worked out pretty good because it was like, oh, I go, hey, that's a neat idea. They didn't take one of the comic strips. They didn't take the novel, and they didn't deal with the whole thing of Willie Garvin because if you deal with him, how are you going to deal with him later? And it's almost like that's the thing that almost stops the movie from getting made. Because that's the thing I'm the most specific about is the relationship between Modesty Blaze and Willie Garvin. And if that's not right, then it'll never be right. And so they got rid of it altogether and did like a pre-episode.
Right.
Something that like Peter O'Donnell never really talked about except for like sections in random stories about Modesty at 19. And as I'm reading, wow, this is a good idea. As I'm reading the script, and we didn't know we were going to make that script. All right, it was just like here's an idea. To do a small one that's makeable, all right? And I'm really like, hey, this is a good idea. I don't know exactly what happened to Modesty at 19. Hey, this is a good idea. This is a neat little story. And then I started reading and I go, hey, this is like genuinely good. This is really, really, really good. And so the film was all set up. It was all ready to be made in Romania. It was a Romania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all hooked up to be made in Romania. It was ready to go. And so then I call Harvey Weinstein up, and this is like, this is a week before shooting, if not short of a week before shooting. It might actually be short of a week, all right? But it's a week before shooting. And I call him up to tell him how much I like the script, that I think it's really good, all right? And I go, you know, Harvey, I mean, you just kind of wanted to like save your property, but you actually ended up having a really well-written script. This is a neat, you know, I even thought of Corman. I thought a little bit about how you've taken this big character, but you've like condensed it so it can more or less all take place in that one room.
Right.
More or less.
Exactly.
All right? And so you can still kind of deliver all the goods and all the action and all the fun, but in a much like smaller
rock all night kind of way.
Rock all night kind of way. Exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, you did a really good job, man. This is going to be really cool. All right. And then he goes, and then it wasn't even me. All right. I'm not going to like say, oh, hey, by the way, I have a director. A week before you start shooting. I figured the director's suggestions, that time had passed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so it was Harvey Weinstein who said, you know, what about Scotty? What about Scotty to do the movie? Like, well, that's a great idea, but aren't you shooting in a week? I go, he can get his shit together, can he? I go, I think he can.
Now wait a minute.
But it was really cool that Harvey, you know, like not only did it like, you know, Harvey think of Scotty, he brought him up completely and utterly on his own. There wasn't a prompting, at least not for me anyway. There wasn't a prompting about it or anything. And it just shows about how much both Harvey and Bob really respected Scotty's work on Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money, but how much they really liked it. In fact, it's funny because like I know, and I know this to be a case, that when it comes to Dimension, when it comes to that year, do you, what year did Texas Blood Money come out?
99?
99. When it comes to that year, that was Bob's favorite movie at Dimension. You know, he had movies that did this and did that, and it went straight to video and everything, but I personally know that that was Bob's favorite movie that Dimension did that year. When it comes to like, Bob had to watch a movie, Dimension did, he'd watch Texas Blood Money.
Wow.
And so they've always really, you know, wanted, you know, to work with Scotty on something else, something that was like, you know, something that was good. You know, Bob even like said, you know, he goes, well, I could give Scotty, you know, Mimic 2, you know, I could give Scotty, you know, Children of the Corn 5. And he goes, but I don't want to insult him.
Well.
And so it's like, you know, yeah, but remember you saw Children of the Corn 5. I go, hey, that was pretty good.
That had Karen Black and William Wyndham in it. Now, wait a minute. Fred Williamson, I think, was in it.
You know who actually the star of that is? Naomi Watts.
That's right. Oh, her. Oh, for criminy. That's right. That was ridiculous.
Actually, when Bob met her at some Hollywood party after Mulholland Drive, he was like, wait a minute. She's in Children of the Corn 5. I might have a couple pictures. She might owe us a couple movies.
Yeah. Check those contracts. Yeah. Absolutely.
Follow up that Oscar nomination with Children of the Corn 7. I'm sorry. You signed.
That's beautiful. God, I love this business. Oh, my.
So anyway, so it was Harvey that brought it up for Scotty, all right? And I wasn't even, and it was, and this also, this is like right, this is all happening right around the first week of Kill Bill, just to put it in proper perspective. So it's not like, oh, hey, maybe we can go to like, you know, Romania, you know, we're producing a movie, maybe we can go there and have a good time and make sure Scotty's okay. None of that. Yeah, it was like, Scotty's got the job, take off to Romania, see you later.
Well, I'll never forget the phone call. I've been tracking you for like weeks, trying to get you. We're finishing our pulp disc.
Mm-hmm.
You owed me something. You called me. You're like, I'm going to Romania. What? What'd you feel like? Something like this scurry, trying to get it together.
Yeah, that phone call that you got all of a sudden, like in a week you're gonna make a movie.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I didn't really know. I didn't until I got to Romania. I didn't even know who the director was or what was going on or why any of this was really happening. I thought it was cool. I got a call from Lawrence Bender, and hey, Scotty, you want to direct this movie on Tuesday, I believe it was, Tuesday afternoon, and the script was messengered to me later that evening, And I read it. I thought, this is really awesome. I did think of Rock all night. I went,
Yeah,
oh,
you
I
did
get
think
all
of
that.
it, yeah.
I really did, because you showed that to me over at my house. It's one of my favorite.
So one more great Roger Corman movie.
And
one set.
One set, ingeniously done with flashbacks and all this really cool stuff. And I went, oh my God. And I said, this is the greatest, coolest movie. And like you said, characters with integrity. Modesty is the total. One of my favorite novel and one of my favorite all-time movies is To Kill a Mockingbird. If I could be 1% of Atticus Finch, oh boy, I can't even get there. But I mean, if I could get there, oh, please let it be. But to have a character with that multi-layered, like fourth-dimensional character, and I read the script, and this one line really stood out and pretty much says everything about the whole movie of like, the 10-year-old Modesty took something that didn't belong to her, and her kind of mentor, this Obi-Wan Kenobi type character, Lob, says, hey, what are you doing there? You're not supposed to be doing that. She's like, he goes, there is a line. And she goes, how will I know where the line is? And he goes, you'll spend the rest of your life figuring that one out. And you're like,
that is a really good line.
and I'm like,
right,
oh, what a great line.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. I mean, that's a line that's for everyone. But anyway, it was just incredibly well written by Janet Scott and Lee Batchelor. And they did a terrific job. And
did you work with them during the course of the movie and everything?
I didn't. There was one last like quick draft as I was off on the plane on the weekend. But it was absolutely crazy. So I went, oh yeah, I'll do it. I'm so proud to be a part of this. This is wonderful. And next thing you know, I'm getting my passport the next day. I'm like, I gotta get my passport redone, and all of this stuff. And I'm reading over the script and trying to attempt a shot list on the plane. And then I think we're shooting on Tuesday. And
so so you got called on Tuesday, and the next Tuesday you're shooting. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Now Ted Nicolau, who was the original director, then got kicked upstairs to be my boss. And he was the sweetest guy. He'd done quite a few Charlie Band pictures, like the Subspecies movies. And he was a sound guy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
Oh, really?
So he just really had a great history. And at first, Ted was just absolutely instrumental in getting everything together and taking me under his wings, so to speak. There was no adversarial anything there. He was just wonderful. It was absolutely terrific. And Michelle C. It was really a harmonious, wonderful thing that could have been very, very extremely awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Because they weren't sure. And I'm like, well, who am I replacing and why? Well, here's the kind of what's going on. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's funny because, I mean, it's great to hear this, because part of the thing is, it was weird. The way you got the job, because it was all set to start shooting in a week with another guy.
Right.
It was literally, Harvey said, what about we get Scotty? All right? And as much as I wanted you to do it, I was like, are we screwing this other guy?
And that's what was really cool, because essentially, he just went, okay, now I'm producer. Oh, okay. All right, Scotty, hurry up, get that in. I'm like, no, he wasn't doing that at all.
No, I heard he's the guy with the juice in Romania, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes, he's the one that started the whole movie-making process over there right after the overthrow. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, God, there was like a Ted Nicolau wall in the studio. I don't know, it was Vlad's place or whatever. It's just, Ted's his name and his block letters. I know, it's really cool. But no, he was terrific, and he would get us these shots, and he just got everything. It was really a harmonious and a really wonderful working experience. So it seemed like, okay, that position got reshuffled. Okay.
So he was like, I'm here to make the movie.
Oh, yes, and he was a total team player and really is the greatest guy. So I really lucked out on every conceivable level with Michelle and everything, and getting everything we needed in the short 18 days.
Right, yeah.
But it was great, so,
The shoot, like 18 days?
Yes, 18 days. No,
Did you have any reshoots or anything?
Nothing, no reshoots, no additional
That was it. So at the end of on the 18th day, that's it.
Boom, yeah, exactly. The curtain, like.
But but that actually should give you some confidence also as so far as like, look, Miramax is actually quick to reshoot. If they thought the movie wasn't any good, you'd be reshooting it, all right? You know, they would like, you know, they have been known to spend as much on reshoots as they spent on the original shoot, all right, of some movies. Am I wrong? Yeah, or more.
No, I definitely take that as a compliment, but I'm like kick you out. I'm like, oh, if we just had that one shot.
But
you
I
know,
mean,
and
actually, the fact
a roulette wheel POV. Oh,
Yeah.
I wanted that. You know what I mean? It was kind of a
Yeah.
cool rig, and oh man. But I mean,
but the fact that after 18 days and they look at the movie and they go, okay, here we go.
Well, I mean, and it's one thing to go, okay, Scotty, you got 4 days prep, do it in 18 days, and to shoot it on the back lot at Universal.
Yeah,
But to go to Romania, where most of these people did not speak English, or at best 20% English.
Yeah,
Again, Ted Nicolau, it's like, oh, okay, here. You know, he acted as the mediator, and he knew everybody, and it was just all right there. It was really, I mean, good Lord. I mean,
You were totally crewed up. Like these people
Yeah, it-
walked in and you had no choice.
absolutely. It's, I don't like that wall. This casino sucks. Let's go over here. Yeah, right.
No, this is it. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
maybe I'll say.
No, you're walking up, you're accepting a set that's already made,
Right.
casting already done.
You know, I'll like go, okay, can we get some glass for this table so I can do some reflection shots here? And I need to move the table out and to do a drawer POV. You know,
Yeah.
stuff like that, which was they happened in a second. It was great. So.
But as far as costumes, as far as all the prep shit.
Yeah, exactly. And it was all there. It was wonderful. It was really
but it was
great.
already done too
Yeah,
at the same time.
Absolutely. So you're like, oh, totally cool. So it was really
And actually, it's
wonderful.
kind of interesting you working back with Ted Nicolai.
Yeah.
All right, is because you started at Empire.
That's right.
You were the last.
That's right.
You were one of the. Were you the last or one of the last feature films at Empire? Charlie Band did at Empire.
Yeah. Then he took to Paramount for
Yeah.
the Paramount deal. Yeah, exactly. Me and
You were the- but you were
J.F. Lawton, or what's his name?
Yeah,
you know, that guy who wrote Pretty Woman.
It was like Avocado Women, or
And Piranha Women, the Avocado Jungle of Death, and Dr. Alien.
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
those
so-
were the last three, right?
Yeah.
Those are the last official three.
Yeah. That's right.
Empire films. Scotty's Intruder, his first film, with my producer Lawrence Bender, his first film. And Dr. Alien and Avocado Women. I mean, Piranha Women in the Avocado Jungle
of Death. And Charlie apparently, the original titles were for Intruder was Night Crew, The Final Checkout, and Dr. Alien was I Was a Teenage Sex Mutant, and I think Piranha Women was Avocado Women. I was so
it
confused.
was.
The titles were changed for some peculiar reason. I'm not sure exactly. I'm so confused.
They messed up Avocado Women. It was better
I
Avocado Women.
know, Piranha Women. So that was that. That's interesting. Yeah, exactly.
And then you're back, years later, you work with Ted Nicolai again.
Exactly. Yeah. Pretty wacky.
What was it like working with the producers besides Ted? There were all these, Michael Barrow, all these people who have been involved with Modesty for years. Or the Modesty.
And they were very, religious about, Modesty Blaze and her whole.
I thought it was great. I think Ted and Michelle C. and myself had a really great, if we were working, everything was great. If I did something, they're like, hey, wait a minute. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do another take that, you guys like, or whatever the case may be, but I kind of like it this way. Nothing big, but it was a wonderful unit that really helped get this thing done on time and on budget and everything like that. And then when the Barrow brothers came in there, I thought it was really cool. I think that Michelle and maybe Ted were kind of like, hey, wait a minute, we were kind of out of sync here a little bit. But I thought it was cool. They had some pretty cool ideas. But I think they were just really excited to see, hey, this movie's
happening.
It's happening.
It's
This movie's
happening.
getting made. And they seem to, God.
Well, when I talked to them, they knew a lot about Modesty Blaze. I mean, they've been sweating over it for a long time.
Exactly. And they had, their video camera and were doing a making of and everything. But I think, ultimately, everything just fell into sync. And at least from my perspective, everything was really cool. It wasn't like, the production got slowed down to any way. We certainly had a certain groove that we were, vibing with. And but I think it was pretty cool. I don't know.
Well, they're all very proud now. I mean, it's like they're all happy that Peter loves the movie.
I mean, he's the hardest critic to please when it comes to Modesty Blaze, all right? Because he's just, he's almost inclined to, not like anything. Because it was about that integrity. The minute it blows the integrity, it blows it.
So knowing he likes your movie, how does that make you feel?
Ah, man, like $1 million. I mean, you're always nervous. You don't know.
Well, you couldn't get a tougher critic than the guy who spent 38 years.
Well, and not only that,
and had been so disappointed.
Well, exactly, and he had some notes on the film, in terms of don't have, this character say that line, or maybe trim that line out and stuff, which I just on a very creative level totally agreed with.
Did you like to? Did you take that stuff? When he wrote that stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and everybody was in agreement. Harvey, everybody went, "Oh, hey, that's pretty cool." I'm like, excellent, awesome. Because he was, again, it was kind of, with kid gloves from what I was hearing from up above. I'm like, oh, heck, but and I just don't know what went through his head with the 66 version, which is really fun. It's not on its own, taken away from.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing about it. It's like, here's the bottom line. If you're a Joseph Lucy fan, you really like Modesty Blaise.
Right.
If you like 60s wild extravaganza kind of,
it's like that one
trippy
movie,
kinda
the
thing.
original Modesty Blaise, is really Michael Myers' template for the
yeah.
Austin Powers movie.
Yeah.
I don't think any one movie has as much of that.
Maybe that's like, if you're a Joseph Lucy fan, you love it. If you like that kind of wild, What's New Pussycat, Casino Royale kind of 60s thing, all right, a little bit more artistry, then you'll like Modesty Blaise. But if you that movie, but if you like the book or you like the comic strips, then it just seems like it's worse than Batman.
It's just sacrilege. Yeah,
it's
like
sacrilege.
why are you taking? Yeah.
Dance numbers, yeah.
Of all the, wait a minute.
But it's interesting. But for instance, Paul Thomas Anderson's original poster, which is on the Laserdisc for the Criterion version of Boogie Nights, is based on the Modesty Blaise poster. Now, not the poster that was at the theaters. He couldn't get his poster, but like the cartoon drawing of Dirk Diggler with everyone all around him and everything. All right, that's on the Criterion Laserdisc.
Oh, cool.
It's taken from the Modesty Blaise poster.
Oh, cool.
Because Paul always liked that poster.
Oh, man. Very cool.
So a lot of people think of Modesty, tons and tons of action, similar to James Bond, but Peter's like, she's not like James Bond. She's completely different. I mean, do you see her completely different?
Oh yeah.
I could see why people have that comparison, since she was created in 1963.
Yeah.
And the first Dr. No came out in 1962, and Ian Fleming was writing the Bond films before that.
Yeah.
She kind of going, okay, she's a female, she's a spy, but I guess that's weird. I guess maybe you can make that jump, but no, I think it's just another character who happens to be feminine, female, and she's a spy. I don't necessarily equate big, spectacular, high-budget action to that. I mean, look, you had The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
And you had then you had Honey West.
Yeah.
Or the Avengers.
Yeah.
Although you did have Emma Peel did kind of kick some ass, but
Yeah.
Modesty kicks ass when she needs to.
Yeah, but one of the biggest differences is James Bond is an agent working for the British Secret Service, and he's sent on assignments.
Modesty.
Yeah, Modesty ran like the greatest smuggling network in the world.
Exactly.
All right, and then retired. All right, so it's like so she was a criminal. All right, All right, she was a criminal, and then she quit it, and it's just living high in the hog on all of her riches and everything, and so when I can't remember, but when the British Secret Service guy comes to her to with an assignment, it's purely on an assignment by assignment basis. It's like she does a job, her and Willie Garvin will do a job, unless it's personal, will do a job just for the fun of it. Just because they got nothing to do, all right? They're bored, all right? So, okay, well, we'll do this.
Now, the other thing that's interesting, Peter said, I mean, she was a pretty outstanding, outspoken, liberated woman before women's lib, before women really looked at, like, oh, we could be, out there. I mean, how cool is that?
Oh, no, that's definitely cool.
Well, that's why I love Get Smart, and that's why I love 99. That's why I loved Honey West and the Avengers. I mean, really, coming from the TV world, and you go, that is so cool. Or That Girl, for example. I mean, the heck with Mary Tyler Moore. That Girl had her beat by 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's just a big deal to have, at that point in 1965, American television world, single chick going out and doing it at age 22. You should be married and having children. You know what I mean? so that was a real big deal, and so I think
And that girl, her father, work in the restaurant.
yeah, exactly. Wait, the best one though. The best one is when
Marie.
Danny Thomas was on with Marlo Thomas, and he was dressed as a priest, and he walks by and she goes, "Hello, Father." That's our greatest gag. I want to steal. That was my favorite. But enough of that girl. But that was.
I remember that.
Remember that one?
The entire Thomas family was on
That's
that episode,
right.
like the sister and the
Oh
brother.
my God! I
Yeah,
know I
right,
have
yeah.
not seen it since.
And then they said
oh
in Danny Thomas, and it was the last second.
Yeah, it was the end gag. That was really, man, that's a teleplay for you. That was a great show. But that was really cool. So I thought that was great and incredibly liberating. I thought it was awesome. It seems like, too, in terms of the whole European look on that, was just a lot more, you know. I mean, Donna Reed, who's that? And what show is that? Ozzie and Harriet, and, that whole convention. Although even Lucy went it alone after she split up with Desi.
Yeah.
I mean, she still had kids and still was kind of a domesticated thing, but even that was 1961, 62.
Well, a case can be made that, like, Lucy's whole comedy was the fact that in I Love Lucy or the Lucy show is she was always like drawing outside the lines. There was like the thing of comedy because she just wouldn't just be the housewife. She wouldn't just be the mom.
Right, she wanted to be the housewife star.
Yeah,
she wanted
exactly.
to do what Ricky was doing. But so that's always interesting in that. But I don't know. I think that's a very cool thing. But it was definitely ahead of its time, which is great.
My favorite of the comic strip stories of Modesty Blaze is one where the bad guys have captured Willie Garvin. All right, and what they've kidnapped him and they've captured him and they're giving him these drugs that are turning him into like a pat of butter. I mean, he's seeing pink elephants and it's this kind of like it's like LSD, but like you are guaranteed to have the worst trip ever. Kind of LSD. All right, there's no fun about it. And if they keep giving him this drug, in the course of a week, he will be completely insane. He will lose all of his brain cells. All right, right now he's just like freaking out and crazy and everything like that. And they go, and so the way that they tell Modesty that they have him, that they're going to institute their whole plan, is there's a knock on her door. She opens the door, and there's a woman there with a bun, her head in a bun and glasses, and she's got a little case with her. And she goes, yes, Miss Blaze, I'm here to see you, and who are you? Well, I think you will talk to me because it concerns your friend Willie Garvin's life. Okay, come on in. The woman comes in, she has a screen with her, she opens the screen, has a little 16mm projector, puts a film on, reels it up,
cool.
and shows it. And in it, you see this 16mm footage of Willie Garvin, like, freaking out and everything. And the woman's describing it as they're watching it, Right now, he's simply, he's going insane and everything. But if we were to stop administering the drugs, in a week's time, he would be fine, all right? But if we keep administering the drugs, by the end of a whole week, after being 24 hours into this drug, he will be completely and utterly insane. His brain will be worth nothing. Now, in order for you to stop this, you have to do a job for us. They wanted to rob something. And then we will, not kill Willie Garvin. And then Modesty goes, well, okay, what's going to stop me, now that you've shown me all this and told me all this, what's going to stop me from killing you?
Yes.
Right now. She goes, well, you can't do that. Because if you look outside, you'll see there's a car out there. Inside that car are two men. All right, if I don't come walking out of here, all right, in the next 10 minutes, all right, they will call up and Willie Garvin will be murdered. He goes, okay, I got it. And then kills the woman, snaps her neck. All right, and then it becomes the whole thing of her calling up the British Secret Service and saying, okay, look, here's what's going on here. All right, in the next 10 minutes, I need a stunt driver out in that car. All right, I'm going to be dressed like this woman I just killed. I'm going to walk outside. I need a car to hit me. All right, I need a British Secret Service with an ambulance right there. Come and whisk me away. All right, and the whole thing is that she's going to dress up like the woman, walk outside, be hit by the car. All right.
Man.
Be laying on the street. An ambulance comes by immediately, picks her up, takes her to the hospital. While she's on the way to the hospital, all right, now she's going to go get Willie. all right, but it looks like just like the woman who went there with the 16 camera got hit by a car. It was great. All right, the fact like the bullshit on that. Boom, she kills a woman right away, and then figures out a way to like work it out. And like to me, that's modesty. That's one of my favorite stories of modesty. Is that whole scenario right there.
To come up with something so crappy.
Right there. It's got to be right there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and she's stuck in this. They bring the stunt driver in before he hits her. This all got to happen in 10 minutes. All right. They bring the stunt driver out to the room, and she goes, "Okay, don't try to hit me. Hit me. I'll get out of the way of the car. You hit me."
Love that.
It's got to be convincing.
Any
Great
favorite
stuff.
production stories? Anything cool happen on set? What's the fun thing you tell us about?
Yeah, during those 18 days.
Yeah, that was 18 days. Gosh.
On the 16th, Derek.
It really went by pretty fast.
Oh, shit.
I know, huh? And just the culture shock of being in a country without warning labels. You're like, oh, wait a minute now. Me, I'm always yelling about everything's over-regulated in America. Everything you cut to like Romania. Look out, the house is falling. You're like, oh, regulation, please, I want A's and B's and C's in the restaurant windows. Oh, I was only kidding. And so aside from that aspect where you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad that's everywhere you go. I couldn't imagine having children there. Oh my God! You're walking down the street. There's a giant spike. Like, ah! Oh, well, and then there's a manhole, open manhole. Look out! And you're like, oh my God! How we are the most spoiled people on the planet. Oh my God! And I'm glad. That means I keep my eyes and I won't like die.
You walk down the street, there's a big spike.
There's like 80 dogs over there. I'm like, haven't you heard of that? Animal shelter. Come on, we must, spay and neuter the dogs. Oh my God. Aside from that, no, it was really one of the smoothest productions ever. Harvey came down on the set. And oh God, and he just absolutely, it's like Brando coming on the set because he's got this aura about him. You're like, oh, why did we gotta put him in as like a casino guy? But he wasn't about to have any of that. That was really wonderful. I'm like, oh, I thought I'd just be here in Romania. Nobody's gonna come, Nobody's gonna bother. They will let us make our little movie and stuff, and there's Harvey right there. It was really cool. He's very complimentary. He's like, hey, that's a nice shot on there. It's a great Harvey story, actually. So we're doing actually it was the end shot. We had this like crazy camera thing that spins and stuff like that, like the roulette wheel to show one of the characters had died. And Harvey goes, that's a great shot. Is that how you're ending the movie? I go, yeah, just like in the script. He's like, mm-hmm. He goes, you should end with modesty. After all, the name of the movie is My Name is Modesty. And he walked away, and here I'm going, oh, God, if we only had a second unit, can we get another camera and just one more extra day? We're showing just more time, the low budget, angst that everybody has trying to make one of these movies on time and on budget. And I just went to Ted and Michelle. I'm like, Harvey wants us to end on modesty, and I think it's a great idea. And, when Harvey says something, you listen because it's a great idea. Like I say, it's like you two guys and Bob. They have the most insane instincts. It's like it's crazy. And he was right, and we came up with something very quickly. But I thought it was pretty effective. That ends up in the movie, and you're like, it's always right, And we did it so that we didn't end up going over budget. But it just that working with people like that really makes you rise to the occasion and go, okay. This isn't just kind of.
Well, he's not saying like, "Oh, you're wrong." He's like, couldn't be
no,
good.
But he was right.
So
it was
it's
great.
web spinning.
Yes, exactly. And you go and come up with something that's cool, but don't take 4 days to do it for God's sakes. It's got to be. Hopefully you're quick on your feet. Let's do it. Yeah. And I'm like, oh man. So that was really just a really crowning cool achievement and stuff. And my buddy Raymond Cruz is in the film, and he played Garcia. And
He was cast pre-you.
Yes, and that was Michelle C. And they're like, "Can you get your buddy Raymond Cruz?" And he just read the script on the way over. He didn't know because he was in, from Dust of Latino. Raymond.
He's terrific.
He's funny, and so that was really kind of nice. And so we had him, and I think we had Eugenia Ewan, who was really wonderful. And I think that was it in terms of.
Well, she's Eugenia Ewan is the daughter of Sheng Pei Pei.
Yes, Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, she's in Crouching Tiger, and she's one of the big stars the early days of Shaw Brothers.
Yes.
She's the star of Come Drink with Me, King Hugh's film Come Drink with Me. She's the star of Shang-Chi's Golden Swallow. All right, also that's got a great British title, The Girl with the Thunderbolt Kick. Yeah, but Ginny. I mean, she's royalty. She's Xing Pei's daughter.
Well, it was cool. And then, of course, our stars Alexander Staden, who's been in some Mike Figgis films. She was just absolutely incredible. And Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who was...
He was terrific in it.
Terrific! And I think it was so funny, too, because when we were doing the ADR for this movie, I'm like, yeah, Nikolai, remember we had to do like 17 pages. Like the actors remember, like we had to do 17 pages of one day with 2K camera. Oh, my God. But thank God. They're crackerjack right there, so you're like, oh my God, you know, you're like, man, oh man. No, nice, really cool, smooth production. Everybody on the Romanian side was really great. Vivi, our director of photography, was really good. No, it's ugly, no. And I would always have to try and no, I want this cool transition. Go right up to the sun. But it whites it out. I go, I know, and then I can burn into Modesty's face. And, oh, no, I'm like, just do one for me. Come on, Vivi. You know what I mean? Because he was this incredible professor of cinematography, I guess, at some university over there, and he's I'm the godfather of cinematography in Romania, so he was really cool. But I thought he did a terrific job too. Yeah. So gosh.
Well, I mean, it's completely. I mean, this whole experience has completely been me and Scotty's dream of what it must have been like working for Corman, because it's been a dream of ours, that idea, all right?
Absolutely.
We don't live in that world, but we wish we did, all right? And I can imagine you reading the script reading the script and then getting on an airplane, and because I remember when I got sent the script and everything, and it was like, okay, everything's been reduced, it's going to be low budget, it's going to be this, and then we're going to knock it off in 18 days and everything, and here's the script. Okay. All right, so hey, this is pretty good.
I know.
And you can do this in 18 days,
yes,
all right?
Exactly.
But this is good. I like the bad guy character in this. He's good. I like Modesty's character in this.
Absolutely.
He's good.
It's like, what in the heck?
It's like Modest in Modesty Blazed, but it's but it's Modest in the best way.
Right, exactly.